32 yesterday. And the umpires tonight, Jerry Lane in his 21st year, will call the balls and strikes. Randazzo, Guccione, and Tiller on the bases, and we're underway. Left-handed hitting Fred Lewis leading off for San Francisco. .56 degrees and the wind out of the east at 8.
Out of the east translates into blowing pretty much straight in from right field. At times it'll blow from the right field corner to the left field corner, but right now blowing straight in from right field.
The 2-1 pitch is hit foul by Lewis. Got off to a good start. Hitting just .205 over his last 12. He's had some struggles defensively out in left. The Giants began the year 2-7. They've gone 10-4 since. They've won 5 consecutive series in the process. They scored a grand total of 5 runs in their 3 games against the Rockies over the weekend, but they won 2 of 3, including a 1-0 final yesterday in 10 innings. Bruce Bochy has been in the National League West for a long time. They're only 2-7 on the road. 10-4 at home as Dempster strikes out Fred Lewis. Rich Aurelia still coming up with big clutch hits. This was in the 10th inning yesterday.
Ryan Dempster probably doesn't mind not having Rich Aurelia in the lineup for the Giants tonight. Aurelia was 9 for 25 lifetime against Demps. That's a .360 batting average. He was the hero yesterday.
Edgar Renteria takes it upstairs. Ball 1. He was brought in to replace Omar Vizquel at short. That's a strike on a fastball. 1-1. 2-year contract with a club option for 2011. 5-time All-Star, 2 Gold Gloves. He's won the Silver Slugger 3 times. The Cubs had a little issue with Edgar Renteria last year when he was with the Braves.
With the guy sitting right next to Ted Lilly, as a matter of fact. A couple of bean balls exchanged, and ultimately Edgar Renteria ran down to second base and threw a forearm shiver into Mike Fontenot. So the balance sheet would seem to be tipped in our favor right now.
Tapper by Renteria as Dempster will throw him out. Actually 2 years ago when he was with the Braves. Last year spent the season with Detroit. 2 outs.
You know, it seems so odd, Len, you mentioned it earlier, that this Giants team pitches pretty well. They play solid defense, but they just haven't been untracked offensively. And that, throughout the history of this great game of ours, was never the case with the San Francisco Giants team. They were seemingly built around powerful offenses. And coming into today's action, they ranked dead last in the National League in runs, in home runs, in RBIs, in walks, slugging percentage, next to the last in on-base percentage.
Well, this guy can hit. At least he's shown that early on in his major league career. Pablo Sandoval, switch hitting third baseman / catcher. Big swing and a miss. 0-2. Sandoval is 12 for his last 25.
Well, we're told that Sandoval has become a little more disciplined as the season has progressed. He is very much a free swinger, but in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak where he's hitting .480, I saw a couple of Giants games early in the season, and this guy swung at the thrown pitch. It didn't matter where it was. It didn't matter what it was. But reportedly, he's narrowed his strike zone down a little bit and doesn't chase nearly as many bad pitches.
He had 345 in 41 games last year, his first major league action.
I guess if you had to compare his batting style to somebody in recent history, Randall Simon is a guy who jumps to mind that never saw a pitch he didn't like.
Another 1-2 that trails inside. 5'11", 246 pounds.
And the Giants actually started the season with only Benji Molina as the only true catcher on their roster. Sandoval was considered the backup catcher, even though he was starting at third base.
Swing and a miss. Good start for Dempster. They go down 1-2-3. Cubs bats coming up against southpaw Jonathan Sanchez. Ramos Ramirez back in the starting lineup for the first time since April 24th. Been dealing with the day-to-day calf injury. We did see him pinch hit earlier on this homestand.
Take a quick look at the Giants defensively. Freddie Lewis out in left field. Aaron Rowand in center. Randy Wynn in right field. We've seen Sandoval. He'll man third base. Edgar Renteria at short. Burris at second base. Ishikawa over at first base. Benji Molina doing the catching for left-hander Jonathan Sanchez. The numbers on Sanchez for the season. Opponent's batting average of 159. Righties have hit only 137 against the Giants left-hander.
His first pitch is hit foul by Alfonso Soriano. Sanchez is 26. First career start against the Cubs. One previous outing that was in relief. Driven deep to left. Lewis is back on the warning track, and it's going to be off the wall. And it'll be a double for Soriano. Into that at bat, Bob. 391 in the first inning. He's now 10 for 24 in the first inning.
Well, Jonathan Sanchez is a guy that really likes his fastball, and he challenges Soriano down and in. That's Alfonso's happy zone. He narrowly misses hitting one out of here, bangs it off the door out there in straightaway left field, and will easily cruise in with a double. There you see the first inning numbers, and from the second inning on for Alfonso Soriano. Brings up Ryan Theriot, likes to hit the ball the other way. He squares to bunt.
pulled it back. The ball popped out of the mitt of Benji Molina. 1 ball, no strikes.
You may say that more than once tonight. Benji Molina has his problems behind the plate. He's in there for his offense. Swings the bat really, really well. But he has some issues behind the plate from time to time.
His younger brother Yadier has become an elite defensive catcher. Arguably the best in the game these days. The kick and the 1-0 pitch. A drive the other way for Terrio. And Soriano will tag as Rowand makes the catch. And the throw will be cut off by Renteria as Soriano stands at third. Now that's a nice piece of hitting by Terrio, but if you're trying to hit home runs tonight, which I don't think he was in that spot, that's not a good place to hit it with the wind blowing in.
Not at all. But Ryan did his job. That inside out swing, either a ground ball to the right side or in this case a fly ball to right center field, is exactly what the doctor ordered, setting it up here for Milton Bradley with the runner at third and 1 out.
So with Ramirez back in the lineup, at least for tonight, Bradley third, Lee fourth, and Aramis fifth. Inside ball 1. Only guy in the Cubs lineup with previous at bats against Sanchez, Aaron Miles. So everybody else facing him for the first time. Infield in about halfway, a little bit closer on the corners. And that's a strike, and I think that's a function mainly of the Giants struggling to score runs, but also Milton Bradley off to a slow start. Well, if we were in July, Bob, with the wind blowing out, both teams scoring a ton of runs, I think the infield would be back.
Yeah. And you were talking about the lineup and the configuration for tonight. That figures to change drastically against the right-hander Tim Lincecum tomorrow. We'll see Fukudome back in there, possibly Micah Hoffpower someplace. But against the left-hander Sanchez tonight, a lot of righties in the lineup.
I don't even know if the Giants unpack their bags. Drop them off at the hotel, play tonight. Quick night of sleep, play tomorrow, and off they go. That hit the foot of Bradley, I think the back foot, and he's on. It's not the worst result in the world for Sanchez, as it does set up a double play opportunity.
And we call that pitch the back foot slider, but this takes it to an extreme. That ball hit Milton Bradley right on the right big toe. Oh my goodness. Anywhere but there. Oh. Well, that hurts clear up here.
You've talked about that being the most painful body part when it gets hit by a baseball.
Well, not only because of the impact and the pain that he felt when the ball hit him, but that thing, you're going to be able to feel your heartbeat in there tonight, Milton.
Derek Lee with home runs in each of his last 2 games, including the big go-ahead grand slam yesterday. The pitch, big swing and a miss. It's a tough matchup for the Cubs here tonight. Sanchez has been excellent versus righties, and the Cubs as a team hitting under 230 versus lefties. It's near the bottom of the majors. Haven't faced a lot of lefties. One and two. There's Aramis, never did go to the DL. If he had, he would not have been eligible until this weekend in Milwaukee. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Not sure how that toe is feeling right now for Milton Bradley. Oh, I'm sure how it's feeling. It's not feeling good at all. But you can run on Jonathan Sanchez. At a very high leg kick. He will show a slide step, but not very often, and he doesn't like to pick to the bases. And I'm basing that on the scouting report I saw down in the Cubs coaches room earlier today. Of course, that could all change on a given night, but leading up to this start tonight. He hasn't attempted too many pickoffs.
Fouled away to the right. Another big crowd, great to see on a Monday night. And the Cubs looking for their first 4-game winning streak of 2009. It's full 3-2. Well, if you do start Bradley here, you better hope Derek Lee either walks or makes contact.
I was just about to say, Len, that pitch you just saw from Jonathan Sanchez, that fastball that sails up and away from the righty, is due to a mechanical issue. His front side flies open a little too soon. His arm drags behind. He ends up throwing that pitch up and away to the right-handed hitters. There's a pickoff attempt at first base. Nothing doing.
Now, you may remember a Ted Lilly balk a couple of days ago. Derek Lee was near first, but he was ready to charge for a bunt. Ishikawa is not right on first base, but as the throw is coming over, he was headed toward the bag, so it's not a balk. Bradley does not run, and it's ball 4, and they're loaded up for the RBI machine, who's back in the lineup, Aramis Ramirez.
Giants pitching coach Dave Righetti, one of the best left-handers of his era, both as a starting pitcher and as a closer with the New York Yankees. Very highly respected pitching coach around the National League, around the major leagues for that matter.
She loves Aramis. Cubs already with 2 grand slams, go-ahead grand slams on the homestand. Terrio and Lee. And a pitch to Aramis, misses ball 1. He was hot when he got hurt, so hopefully he could pick it right back up. He did pinch hit on Friday and went 0 for 1. The pitch, that's a called strike.
Great numbers in this situation throughout his career for Aramis Ramirez. I think that last pitch was a changeup, Len. We've had some discrepancy in the arsenal that Jonathan Sanchez will use in a ball game. We know he's got a great fastball. Has trouble locating it at times. He also throws a curveball. One report I saw said he threw a changeup. We talked to some people with the Giants, said he throws a splitter. As we watched him warm up down the right field line today, I definitely saw him throwing the split finger fastball, but I did not see him throwing any changeups. But that second pitch to Ramirez certainly looked like a changeup.
Two-one pitch, big home run swing.
Ramirez trying to get on the grand slam train right here. Middle of the plate fastball just below the belt. Big swing. Head might have come off just a little bit. Now in the past we've seen Aramis in a similar situation shorten up his swing and try to go to the opposite field.
Swing and the miss, so Sanchez trying to work out of it, has 2 outs, and it brings up Giovanni Soto.
Boy, nothing short about that swing. That was the same home run cut he took on the pitch before. He got a fastball right in the middle of the plate once again. And if you look at the numbers for Jonathan Sanchez, it would tell you that he doesn't give up a lot of hits. Part of that is due to the fact he's very erratic. He's not consistently in the strike zone, and the other part of it is he's got good stuff.
Caught the outside corner. 0-1. Good fastball. That was a pitcher's strike to start the at bat. Soto still trying to get it going. He is 4 for his last 11, however. Tapper foul, and that goes right into the home dugout.
Well, and I think hitters would probably tell you that's the combination that they hate to face. A guy that's erratic with his command, but he's got really good stuff. You may get yourself into some hitters' counts because he's wild, but when he does come in the strike zone, it's not easy to square him up.
His 0-2 pitch missed 1-2. There's the hitting coach, Gerald Perry. The next one missed again. Cubs starting the night tied with the Cincinnati Reds at 13-11, 3.5 back of the St. Louis Cardinals, who are back home to face the Phillies. Cardinals are 10-3 at Busch Stadium. The Giants are in second as well. Over in the West, 4.5 behind the Dodgers. Giants at 12-11. Soto has now worked a full count after an 0-2 beginning to this at bat.
Well, it's a good take by Gio. That is a pitcher's pitch right there. Some umpires would give Jonathan Sanchez that pitch. It's clearly off of the outside corner, but very close.
And the fans are on their feet in the first inning. Runners will go with the pitch. Here it is. He walked in a run. Soriano will score to make it 1-0. It was an excellent plate appearance for Giovanni Soto, and Dave Righetti's going to head out.
Boy, that is so important, Len. We talk all the time up here about momentum swings in the game of baseball, and when you've got a young pitcher like Jonathan Sanchez in a hole in the bottom of the first inning and a chance to score some runs, if you come away empty, that momentum swings to the other side of the field. Great at bat by Giovanni Soto.
Hey, tomorrow is Empress Day at Wrigley Field. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Giants at 1:20. Lucky seat winners will be awarded great prizes throughout the game. There's no purchase necessary. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Now a chance to really break it open as Reed Johnson looks for his first RBI of the season. Base is still loaded, and the pitch is pulled over Mike Quade. That bounced over the third base coach. A double, a hit batter, and 2 walks. And the Cubs have the first run of the night. In the dirt, and they'll get a new baseball. Cubs will face one of the Giants' Cy Young Award winners in this series. Tim Lincecum tomorrow. They will not see Barry Zito or Randy Johnson. One and two. Barry Zito, that run the Cubs got, the first one Sanchez has allowed in over his last 13 innings. He's had 2 starts in which he hasn't allowed an earned run. As Johnson swings, and that'll be in the dirt, so they'll throw to first to complete the out. But the Cubs do get 4 base runners and score the first run of the night. Benji Molina leading off the Giants' second. They went down 1-2-3 in the first, and the Cubs got the first run. Cubs Vice President, General Manager Jim Hendry is in the booth with us as Molina will deposit one out into right center for the Giants' first base runner. Jim will say this right off the bat. We're not going to have you on every time you put somebody on the DL this year. But having said that, it is the first DL stint. So, you know, there have been some day-to-day things. And the Zambrano 2 to 3 weeks in the end, do you feel okay about that? I guess it could have been worse.
It's the right thing to do. We've been very fortunate. A lot of people in baseball can't say they went the first month of the season and broke camp with nobody on the DL. And we've had a few nagging injuries with Aramis and Milton. But overall, in the big scheme of things, we don't have a lot to complain about. This situation with Z is what our doctors told me was a grade 2 strain of his hamstring, right hamstring, and it's going to take 2.5 weeks probably. He's a big guy, a big strong guy, and he'll come back quickly, but it's the right thing to do. You take a chance with a hamstring, and you can pull it worse, you can tear it away from the bone, and you've got a big problem on our hands. And obviously Z didn't want to go on the DL, but it was really a no-brainer for us.
It was a great bunt.
Yeah, it sure was. Started the rally.
And I loved Lou's line today. And, the question is, would you rather not use Z so much as a pinch hitter and to lay down bunts? And Lou said, well, what if he hits a double and that injury happens as he's trying to get to second? Do you tell him not to hit a double?
Right. Well, and Bob knows. I mean, you can't. You want people to play hard. You want people to play aggressive. You don't want a guy hitting a ground ball to shortstop and jogging to first. So, I think Lou does a pretty good job of picking his spots and when to use pitchers for extra things, pinch running, pinch hitting. But this was in the normal flow of a ball game that you're trying to win a baseball game. And 1-1 in the 5th inning, he did what he had to do, and he helped the club. It just happened. It could have happened him jogging in the outfield between starts.
And we should point out this is his 3rd career DL stint, and it's the first time it's been a non-arm injury.
Correct.
So the other 2 were from pitching.
Correct. And knowing the way he's been in the past, I think when he comes back in 15 to 20 days, he'll be throwing that much better.
2 outs in the inning. Randy Wynn is at the plate, and he hits it down the left field line. Foul. Bobby Scales, 11th pro season. He's in the big leagues.
Well, what a great story. He signed with us, a year and a half ago. He played all last year in AAA and played very well. We just did, we didn't bring him up in September a year ago because we already had 33 or 4 guys on the club and looked like we were going to make the playoffs. And he re-signed with us when most people would have gone elsewhere to get another chance. And what a great kid. He earned it. I was in Des Moines a few weeks ago, and he played great in 3 or 4 positions, and he's earned this. It isn't like it's a gift, but it is a great story that after 11 years he got to the big leagues, and I think he's by far the happiest guy in the ballpark today.
Outside 2-2 the count. Sounds like Randy Wells probably will be here Friday to jump into that start in Milwaukee.
Well, I just talked. Randy Bush is in Iowa. Went over there today to help sort out the pitching, and we thought it was going to be Randy Wells or maybe Ascanio, and Randy just threw 3 scoreless innings, no hit ball, and got through it like in 40, 42 pitches, and he'll be meeting the club this week and pitching Friday in Milwaukee.
Can you hang for 2 more minutes?
Yeah, I'd love to.
We like that it's a quick inning with Dempster on the mound. 1-0 Cubs. Here in the second, we're with Jim Hendry. Jim, I wanted to ask you about the Greg Maddux and Fergie Jenkins 31 retirement ceremony yesterday. You were on the field, and just a great day. The weather cooperated. It was fun.
Just a tremendous day. I mean, everybody really did a great job preparing for it, but to have the two of them out there and have the numbers go up was tremendous. I didn't know Fergie as well as Greg.
Aaron Miles on his way to second. Leadoff double.
Yeah, it's good to see. I got to know Greg very well, obviously, the last 6 or 7 years, and one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet in this game, on and off the field. And you know, he was really genuinely so appreciative yesterday, and almost got choked up, which was not the Greg Maddux that we usually see. But what a first-class guy, and I think he was very surprised that this kind of thing happened so early after he retired. But he was very appreciative, very felt great about it, and a wonderful guy. And he could do any job in this game when he wants to come back and work. He could do whatever he wants.
And it was a good warm-up for his speech at Cooperstown. You know, he's got to start getting used to that.
Yeah, I hope I'm there for that one. It's obviously going to happen 5 years from now, and you're right. He's a special guy, one of a kind.
Ryan Dempster trying to lay down a bunt, led the majors in this department last year. Runner at second with nobody out, and the Cubs lead 1-0. He bunts through it, and 2 strikes. Your thoughts on your club after a month? I'm sure you're feeling a little better than maybe a few days ago, but you understand the long haul means you're going to have peaks and valleys.
Right, we played a lot better the last few days, and now we're getting healthy. I think the lineup's going to be really good when we get it all going on all cylinders. I think we all would admit we didn't play great the first month, and still we're 500. Not that that's acceptable anymore, but there were some days we couldn't have played much worse, and we still came out of it in fairly good shape, and now we're starting to make a little bit of a run, and I think that'll continue. We got a good bunch of guys and a good ball club, and if we stay healthy, there's no reason why we won't have a good year.
Bob and I talk about track record all the time, and you certainly want guys, all of them, to have career years if they can, but I mean, Giovanni Soto 158, Aaron Miles, who just doubled, 185, Bradley 116. I mean, this is going to turn, and one of these guys is going to go 15 for 30 here real soon.
Right. We too many good hitters to 4 or 5 guys at the same time not hitting, and overall for the month we got good starting pitching. So if that continues and we start hitting, it'll level off real good.
Soriano with a double in the first inning. And he bats with a runner in scoring position and 1 out here in the second. We had a note, Jim, he's now 10 for 24 in the first inning.
Yeah, I think he's doing quite fine in that leadoff spot.
And the other one that I like, 6 of his 7 home runs have given the Cubs a lead.
Yeah, he's a terrific player, and as we've gotten to know him now over the years, this guy wants to win every day. He's not happy when he hits a home run and we lose. I can promise you that. He's a team guy. Misunderstood, I think, at times earlier in his career here, and I think he's proven to people that winning here is the most important.
Well, I thought his comments last week when the team was struggling in Arizona were very nice to see from a veteran.
Yeah.
Hey, he said, "Look, I noticed a difference. We need to pick it up a little bit."
Yeah, and he's well respected in that clubhouse too, and very good to the younger players.
The 2-0 pitch from Sanchez, a ground ball to short. Miles is going to end up at third, but Renteria throws out Soriano. Last question, Kosuke Fukudome. You have to be really happy with what he's done, not only offensively, but going back and forth from right to center.
Well, he's really a good player, and obviously we were all miffed at how the season ended last year with him. There weren't many people that gave him a chance to come back and play like this over the winter. Proud guy, been a real good player in Japan for years. Swinging the bat well. He's as good a right fielder as you'll find in the game. Probably not quite as good in center, but still, very, very good. And certainly saved the ball game for us yesterday. But hitting over 300 this early, and even his outs have been very, good at bats. So I think he's going to have a real good year.
Ryan Theriot drives that ball deep and gone.
Oh boy, how about that?
He's got to crack a smile at some point here around the bases.
Wow.
That's his 3rd one on the homestand.
Unbelievable. The boys will be hearing about that in the locker room.
He has really been driving the ball here lately.
You know, it's probably not fair to say this about the riot at this point, but it wasn't that long ago that Jim Fry told Ryan Sandberg, you should be hitting for a little more power. Go up there and try to drive the ball.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Ryan's really he's playing great, and he used the whole ballpark, but it's something to see here the last 3 days. I'll tell you that.
Bob, I got to tell you, we love hanging around Jim, but especially when this happens, because you get into it, Jim. You're into every game.
Yeah. Well, he's a great story in itself. It wasn't an easy battle for him to get to the big leagues, and overcame a lot of adversity. And those guys from LSU, they know how to play when they got out of there with Skip Bertman. They same with the LSU kids that play for Paul Maneri. But these guys know how to play, and this guy knew how to tough it out to get here and grind his way in there. And nobody gave him a chance to be our starting shortstop here 2 or 3 years ago.
1-2 on Bradley.
And just for those of you who keep track at home, our Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 372 feet. The Riots hit over 1,000 feet of home runs on this homestand.
That's terrific.
Ryan Dempster likes that. Now with a 3-0 lead is Rowand coming in, and he dropped it. Ball died maybe in the wind a little bit.
Yeah, a little tough read there, the way it came off the bat.
So the inning is still alive for Derek Lee.
Well, we talk about it all the time, Len. When a power hitter takes a full swing at the plate and either gets jammed or hits it off the end of the bat, invariably that center fielder gets fooled a little bit, and then you combine that with the wind blowing in, and Rowand on a dead sprint just can't make the play.
They've given him a hit as Rowand had a shot at it, but had a long way to run. It brings up Lee, who walked his first time. How hard is it for you sometimes to sit and watch these games? I know you like to pace a little bit.
You've sat next to me many a time, Len. That's an easy answer.
Bob talks about Lou. There's not a ton of room to pace in the home dugout here, but it's not easy, is it? Sometimes.
No, it's
well, you have so much invested in
Yeah,
this.
well, it's so much of your life is just whether you won that day or you lost, and you stayed healthy. So I don't think anybody would be any different, in this job. I've never figured out that even keel 162 game thing, but you just have to be yourself, unfortunately that's not always good for me.
Well, Jim, if you need any help learning that even keel, talk to Sano.
Yeah. Sano, Lou, nobody really cares enough around here.
But it's probably why you need a little cooling off period after the game, like Lou does, right? I mean, you're not going to make trades during the game.
Oh no, and that's why I tell you it's very hard to do that post game in the interview room. It's really hard to do, and I think any of us that had to do that 5 or 10 minutes after a tough loss, late inning loss, boy, it'd be hard to gather yourself. And I'm sure on the way home you think, boy, I wish I had a redo on that one. It's tough to do.
Well, I think I can speak for all the media in Chicago. You're so open with everybody, and you meet with the writers and people from radio and TV every single day, and you try to be as open as you can about what's going on, and I think everybody appreciates it over in the press box here.
Well, thank you.
And Lou always gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, he's a beauty, isn't he? He's great.
2-2 on Derek Lee. Bradley at first. Ryan Theriot with another home run. A 2-run shot. And a full count on Lee. I told people before you were in broadcasting at one point, and Dempster, a quick top half of the inning. Cubs scoring 2. We might keep you here.
Let's hope this gets a little longer.
You got it. Ramirez coming up. And Dave Righetti came out in the first, and he's going to walk back out here in the second. We talked to Jonathan Sanchez. See the pitch count getting up there for Jonathan. Oh, well, we have an extra second, Jim, as we go around the team a little bit. Bullpen, I mean, it's been a little up and down. Carlos Marmol, We've seen some outings where you go 2 walks and then strike out the side. You feel like he's kind of getting there and just getting back out there every day.
The good news is at least he's got it in him to get out of that type of mess and then finish people off in high fashion. He hasn't been as sharp, obviously, the last week. He went through a week or 2 last year where he was, he struggled a little bit, but he's as good. He's got as good a stuff as there is in the National League, and he certainly has proven he can handle the pressure of the late innings. And our bullpen's starting to come around. I think Bob would tell you from his managing days, when you leave camp, unless you've got the lockdown pen from the year before's World Championship team, it's kind of the last thing that comes to place. I think with Heilman and Marmo and Gregg, I think that the 7th, 8th, and 9th is going to be in pretty good shape, and I think Samardzija will keep getting better. We've got to get Neil Kotz getting back on track a little bit. And Guzman has done a serviceable job here, and David Patton threw 2 good innings the other day in Arizona. So, it's just a matter of it all falling into place and guys getting a little bit of a roll.
Always a pleasure, Jim. And the Cubs leading 3-0. Hope they keep pouring it on tonight. Thanks, Jim.
Guys. Okay, enjoyed it.
One ball, no strikes the count. And Travis Ishikawa, Ryan Theriot supplying a lot of power on this homestand. 3 home runs, the latest giving the Cubs a 3-0 lead.
Jim, when Jim was in the booth, Lynn, I alluded to Ryan Sandberg, and very early in his career here with the Cubs, Jim Fry said, "Hey, you're not a singles hitter. You can pick your spots and pick your counts, and you should be driving the ball a little more often, hitting a few more home runs." And it worked for Rhino. Now, as I said, it's probably not fair to put that on Ryan Theriot, but there's no reason why in certain situations against certain pitchers, anybody in this lineup can look for a certain pitch, and if they get it, hit it hard. And in this homestand, Ryan Theriot has taken that advice.
First walk given up by Dempster. Cubs fans, don't forget to visit the WGN Sports Game Zone at WGNTV.com. Brought to you by The Great Escape for up-to-the-minute stats and info designed to give you everything you need to know during the game. The WGN Sports Game Zone is available for every Cubs game. It's brought to you by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. Manuel Burris looks at strike one. He's playing second base. And a real struggle for Burris from this side of the plate. 8 for 55 left-handed. Turns him away 1-1.
Yeah, if you're a switch hitter, you would much prefer to struggle from the right side of the plate because you're going to see a lot more right-handed pitchers. You're going to have a lot more at-bats as a left-handed hitter. So if you had to choose one side or the other to struggle from, you'd prefer it to be the right side.
Two and one. The pitcher Sanchez is on deck. Swung on and missed. The kick and the 2-2. 5-4. That's it. Burris runs extremely fast. Cub fans, don't forget to check out our WGN Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. And on the blog tonight, make sure you check out a note about Ryan Dempster's brother, Chris, who's going to ride his bicycle across Canada, coast to coast, to raise funds for the Ronald McDonald House in British Columbia, Canada. That's where Ryan and Chris are from. Sanchez squares to bunt and takes it outside. At the Ronald McDonald House, a nonprofit organization. They assist children with life-threatening diseases. This is the course. 4,150 miles in under 3 months. So if you'd like to make a donation, go to crossingcanadaforkids.com. I guess Chris was training to be a firefighter, and he's going to take the summer to ride his bicycle across Canada for a great cause. They're going to try to raise $100,000.
It's over 51 miles a day.
Ooh.
And I wasn't great at geography, but I don't think Canada is flat. I think he's going to have to go up and down some hills there, especially at the beginning, or rather the finish of the trip when he gets out closer to British Columbia.
Yeah, Alberta and British Columbia. To the Canadian Rockies, big swing and a miss. 1-2 on Sanchez. I think that's where the Canadian Rockies are, right? Canada?
If not, they're going to have to redo a lot of maps.
Runner goes. The pitch is high, and Burris is safe. His 7th steal out of 10 tries.
You mentioned it just a moment ago. Burris can fly. If he was a guy that would learn to cut down on his swing a little bit, put the ball in play a little more often, especially on the ground, this is a guy that could conceivably steal 50, 60, 70 bases in a season. He's got that kind of speed. And coming into play tonight, the Giants ranked 4th in the National League in stolen bases. They do have some good speed. Randy Wynn is a guy that can steal some bases for you. Believe it or not, Pablo Sandoval, the third baseman's got a couple of stolen bases in the early going this year.
Two on Sanchez. Lewis on deck. Cubs lead 3-0. We're in the 3rd. Swing and a miss. I have a hypothetical question for you. Would you rather have a team that scored a bunch of runs and couldn't pitch, or a team that was just lights out with its pitching staff and really struggled to score, like the Giants, for instance?
Give me the pitching. I'd like to think if you can keep the other team from scoring, you can find a way to scratch out a run or 2 or 3 if necessary. It would involve a lot more time in spring training spent on offensive fundamentals, hitting behind the runner, getting down your bunt, stealing bases. I like the idea that the other team doesn't score. I'll figure out a way to push one across.
I think I would agree with that.
Now, if I'm a fan, I might prefer to see the ball flying all around the ballpark. Offense is always fun to watch. But as far as winning games, if the guy standing out there in the middle of the field on that hump can get the other team out, I'd rather have that guy.
(2-0) on Lewis. Ryan struggled a little bit here with the strike zone in this inning. He walked the leadoff man, Ishikawa. Popped him up on a 2-0. And Derek Lee makes the catch to end the inning. One left, 3-0 Cubs. The first 4-game winning streak of the season. Ryan Terrio's already tied his career high in home runs for a single season, 3.
Everything else is gravy.
2-run blast in the second. One and one to Giovanni Soto. The Pirates are trying to snap what has ballooned into a 15-game losing streak versus Milwaukee. And they lead 3-1 in the top of the 8th. Pirates trying to put an end to a long losing streak against one team. Paul Maholm is out, but he gave up 1 run and 7 1/3. Outdueling Giovanni Gallardo to this point. A 1-2 from Sanchez, hit on the ground to third. Sandoval looks it in. Fires a strike to Ishikawa.
The 2009 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WCIU Cubsnet is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
Nice night. Wind blowing in, a little cool. Light jacket weather. And Reed Johnson takes a strike. Red Sox at new Yankee Stadium for the first time, and they haven't gotten started yet. John Lester, Phil Hughes, but more rain in New York. Burris picks it up, short toss. Brings up Aaron Miles. Across the street. Sheffield. Ball 1 to Miles.
You know, there was a time when the Giants came to town that those rooftops on Sheffield would have been standing room only because of the big left fielder the Giants had. They used to hit a lot of balls over in that direction. Haven't been able to replace his power numbers. Of course, how do you?
They've been a pretty bad offensive team since Barry Bonds became an ex-Giant. And I seem to recall right at the end they didn't really have a lot going offensively other than Bonds, who didn't play every day. Swing and the miss, 2-2. You ever been to Pittsburgh, California? That's where Aaron Miles was born.
I've never been there. I'm
no H.
Familiar with it, yeah.
B-U-R-G.
Yep.
Northern California. 3-2.
We'd love to get Aaron Miles on base here and get Ryan Dempster up at the plate here in the third inning, get his spot out of the way and roll back around to the top of the order.
Swing and the miss, and for the first time tonight the Cubs go down in order, 1, 2, 3. They lead the Giants 3-0.
Grabbed his hair, yeah.
Ryan Dempster against Edgar Renteria. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 hit, 1 walk for the Giants. That's it. Cubs getting another home run from Ryan Theriot. Before that, a bases loaded walk to Giovanni Soto in the first. Ramirez pinched in at third. Playing just slightly the other way in the outfield. Slider strike to make it 1-2. Dempster was on the mound last Wednesday, gave up a season high 5 runs in 6 innings. Ramirez picks it up. Meet the Team, Have a Ball, presented by Bank of America, is next Wednesday, May 13th at 2:30. Collect autographs on an authentic MLB baseball from the 2009 Cubs players and coaches in attendance. Limited tickets are available for $300 each. Proceeds benefit Cubs designated charities. To purchase tickets, call 773-404-CUBS. Switch hitting Sandoval way out in front. The wind and the pitch too high. Pulled down the right field line. Fair ball. And it'll be 2 bases. Eight-game hitting streak. Sorry, Bob.
Cubs sitting on a 3-0 lead in this ball game, but I have to believe if you had Sandoval at the plate and he had an opportunity to give his team the lead or tie up a ball game, you don't have to throw him a strike. He's going to throw. He's going to swing at whatever you throw up there at the plate. No reason to give him a strike, and he's still going to chase. With the 3-run lead, you want to try to establish what it is he hits well, what he doesn't hit. Try to probe around the corners of that strike zone, and I think the Giants are going to the Cubs are going to find out that they do not have to throw Sandoval a strike. He'll do you a favor. He'll swing at a lot of bad pitches.
Notice the on-base percentage 11 points below the batting average. It's not a misprint, and it's dropped by Terrio, but he still has time as Molina does not run well. 2 outs in the inning. Now, sac flies count against your on-base percentage, and Molina has 3 of them, and he hasn't walked this year.
Well, you never like to drop a ground ball, but if you're going to, do it when Benji Molina is running. He's a good hitter. He's not much speed. If he could run it all, he'd be a guy that might hit 330, 340 over the course of a 162-game season, because he does put the ball in play and he does have a tendency to find holes.
Molina had 95 RBIs last year. Slow start for Aaron Rowand. 236. 0 for his last 12.
One of the more unique batting stances in all of baseball. I don't think you would ever teach anybody to do this. Has his toes pointed in opposite directions, like he's sitting in a chair up there. As the pitcher goes into his delivery, he kind of leans into more of a hitting position and uses a very short bat, 33-inch bat. Stands relatively close to the plate. He's found something that's comfortable for him, even though he's off to a slow start this year.
He's a guy I've circled in this series, a little nervous about from the Cubs' perspective, because he's been very quiet lately. 1 extra base hit in his last 48 at bats. I know Aaron Rowand can do some damage. Two balls, 2 strikes with Sandoval at second. The pitch. Bradley coming over. He won't get there. Neither will Derek Lee, as everybody scatters in the Giants bullpen. One of the guys scattering down there, I'm sure, Bob Howry, the former Cub, back with his original organization, the San Francisco Giants. There's Bob. I was watching him pitch the other night. All the same pre-pitch routines that we saw here as a Chicago Cub. As Terrio throws out Rowan. Still 3-0 Cubs. Cubs 3, Giants nothing. Called strike on the pitcher Ryan Dempster. Well, in a 2-game series, and you got to face a Cy Young winner tomorrow. Definitely like to get the first one.
Game 1 of any series is always important, especially in a 2-game series, as you said, where the guy you're facing game number 2 took home all the hardware last year.
Having said that, Sean Marshall will go into that start with a 3.32 ERA. Unfortunately, no wins. He's off to a good start. And then the deja vu trip for the Cubs, Houston and Milwaukee. Did it 1 month ago to start the season.
If I had ever been here before, I would probably know just what to do. Hey, Len,
yes,
the Bud Light Concert Series is back. 311 with Ziggy Marley will be playing the Charter One Pavilion on June 14th. Brought to you by Bud Light. Tickets are available exclusively at livenation.com. 311 with Ziggy Marley, June 14th, brought to you by Bud Light. Live music and Bud Light keeps it coming.
Means summer's right around the corner, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed.
A swinging strike on Alfonso Soriano. One and one. Now one of the best teams in baseball, at least on paper, grabbing another late lead. The 18-9 Blue Jays leading the Indians 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th. In terms of who the best team is right now, even though it doesn't really matter, it's early. I think the Dodgers would have an argument. They look to go 11-0 at home tonight against the Diamondbacks. That's late. Cardinals at 17-8. AL Central looks like it's upside down right now. I think we both agreed in spring training the Royals look like they're finally going to put things together this year.
I think the big key for them is to stay healthy. Obviously, I don't know if they have the depth to withstand any key injuries, but off to a good start. And when you start playing well early in the season and believing in yourself, crazy things can happen.
3 straight strikeouts for Sanchez, 6 on the night. Let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. How about the infielders on the homestand? Start the truck. There we go. Terrio, Fontenot in lead. That was the series against Florida, and you can add a 2-run homer for Terrio tonight. Tonight's Toyota moving forward thanks to Toyota. Fontenot out of the lineup against the lefty Sanchez. He'll be back in there most likely tomorrow.
You know, Len, normally you'd see numbers like that and you would assume that Derek Lee, you know, had 5, maybe all 6 of the home runs, but not the case. 2 little mighty mites providing some long ball.
Zach Greinke's doing it again tonight. He's given him 1 hit to the White Sox through 4. Royals lead 3-0. Three and 1. Ontario with Bradley on deck. Another walk. That's 4 of them given up by Sanchez.
That's what happens when you start hitting home runs. They pitch around you.
Bradley hit by a pitch and then a single. So 1 for 1 officially. His average has gone up 20 points. Started at 116. Terrio takes off. The pitch is high, and Molina lost the handle on it. Terrio with stolen base number 6. Cubs have been running a lot more lately. Who does Terrio think he is? Alfonso Soriano? Homers and steals.
Just took off on first movement that time from Jonathan Sanchez. That's another one of those instances where your advanced scouting report can really help your base runners. Sanchez just doesn't like to pick to the bases very often and uses the big leg kick in his delivery to home plate.
Seems a little frustrated right now. He's from Puerto Rico. Went to Ohio Dominican University, where he threw 4 no-hitters. .6'2", 189 pounds. The pitch bounced foul. Some Giants fans, some Barry Bonds fans in the ballpark. Cubs and Giants have been battling since 1883. Fly ball sounded like he broke his bat. As Fred Lewis will make the grab, and that's the inning. 2-out walk, a stolen base, no runs. Cubs 3, Giants nothing after 4. 1 ball, no strikes. A pitch. Tapper. Dempster off the mound quickly. Little bobble. And the throw almost handcuffed Lee. I don't think you'll show the video of that in the manual, but they got the out.
No pictures, just numbers. A little bobble by Dempster, and then kind of a sidearm toss on to Derek Lee. He had trouble handling the pitch from Dempster. Tried to sneak out of the glove right there, but he grabs it deep in the palm. Derek Lee able to make the play on the other end.
Called strike on Travis Ishikawa. Did he go? Nope. Chris Tiller made the call from third.
You know, so far this year, Travis Ishikawa is another one of the guys in the Giants lineup that you don't necessarily have to throw strikes to get him out. He did walk in his last at bat. That was only his third of the season against 19 strikeouts.
Ishikawa was born in Seattle. His dad was born here in Chicago. He was a 21st round pick in 2002. My drive home yesterday, I caught a little of the Giants game on satellite radio, and Dave Fleming calling the game with J.T. Snow, former Giants first baseman. He was pretty good defensively.
Oh, yeah. He could pick it. Probably the best defensive play he made was saving Darren Baker from a collision at home plate.
Into the right field corner, off the sidewall, so it's foul. Darren was held 4?
Yeah, he was
4.
Just a youngster, bat boy.
Yeah.
Ran up to home plate a little bit prematurely to grab a bat. The play was still going on. Runners were coming around the plate, and J.T. Snow stepped on home plate, grabbed Darren by the back of his jersey, and pulled him out of the way as the other runners followed J.T. Snow.
Darren was actually 3 during that World Series. Do I hear 2? As the decades go by, Darren gets older. Yeah, I was a bat boy when I was 6 months.
Had to crawl out to home plate to get the bat.
Golfed high in the air the other way. Soriano with an easy play. 2 outs. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Roof. 2 outs, nobody on. It's Burris showing bunt, taking ball 1. Might have been the last time these two teams met was on that ridiculously windy night in Scottsdale, Arizona in spring training. I was not at the game, but I heard it was unbelievable. The game basically was stopped right in the 7th inning because of wind.
Saw a little bit of the game on television that night, and I mean, every ball that was hit in the air was an adventure. There was debris blowing all over the field.
Soriano gets another chance. And a 1-2-3-5 for Ryan Dempster. Sent down 5 in a row. Cubs still shutting him out.
Before the ball game started, Alfonso Soriano and his friends out in the left field bleachers have developed a routine of their own. You may remember Andre Dawson and the fans bowing to him, and Soriano and his fans out in left field have their own routine this year. That's tonight's Have a Ball, thanks to the Illinois Lottery.
Cubs have had a lot of base runners tonight, taking 4 walks and a hit batter, 4 hits, including a 2-run homer by Ryan Theriot. Carlos on the disabled list for the 3rd time in his career, and it's a leg injury, a hamstring. It is too much energy to be sitting around.
I was just thinking that same thing, Len. It's bad news on a couple of fronts. Number one, we won't see him on the mound every 5th day, and number 2, he's going to be in there with his teammates every day, driving him nuts.
All right, that's starting to get a little weird. 1-2, another 2-2. Well, Lou was telling Ryan Theriot to drive the ball a little bit more, and he has. And he talked with Derek Lee over the weekend about his hitting mechanics. Home runs in back-to-back days. Derek felt like he was getting under too many pitches and popping them up, so he worked with his manager. You might say, well, Gerald Perry's a hitting coach, and that's true, but this coaching staff, Bob, I mean, everybody pitches in. Lou loves to talk hitting, and he and Gerald work very closely together, and I think Gerald would tell you, hey, more voices, that's fine, especially from a guy like Lou.
Well, the bottom line is they're all working toward the same goal, and sometimes the more sets of eyes and the more experience you can use, the better your chances of winning ball games or helping guys snap out of a slump. I don't think Gerald would be offended in the least by Lou providing some helpful tips.
I think Lou picks his spots too. He lets his coaches coach as Lee draws his 3rd walk tonight.
I mean, we used to see it all the time with Greg Maddux talking to hitters on the bench. Sometimes a pitching coach may notice something in a hitter because that's what he's used to doing, watching opposing hitters and then providing advice to his own pitching staff. So sometimes the pitching coach may notice something in one of our own hitters, suggest to Gerald, hey, you know, I noticed this in the game the other day. Maybe it's something you want to work on. And vice versa, Gerald may notice something on one of our pitchers.
We've seen that pitch a lot tonight, haven't we? Talked about the little mechanical issue for Sanchez.
Especially to the right-handed hitters. I noticed that on his charts from his last start. A lot of fastballs up and away. Not only in the strike zone up and away, but out of the strike zone up and away to those right-handed hitters.
Justin Miller getting ready quickly in their bullpen. Ramirez ahead in the count, 2-0. Making his first start in over a week. Three balls, no strikes. Worth and Howard with home runs for the Phillies. They lead 6-1 in St. Louis. It's full 3-2.
And that normally would have been a run count. Lou likes to start that runner on those 3-1 counts, especially when you have a contact hitter at the plate. But because Ramirez has been on the shelf for a while, I think he's going to play it a little more cautiously until he makes sure that Aramis can put that ball in play. swinging at good pitches and taking the bad ones.
Lee runs on this one, and it missed badly. Up and away. Ball 4. That's 6 walks. And Sanchez is nearing the end of his night. It's a new career high in walks for Jonathan Sanchez with the 6th tonight. As Dave Righetti is back out for, I think, at least the 3rd time in this ballgame. Plan your next corporate function or family gathering in the comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites, presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. Be sure to ask about the April and May incentives. To book your suite or for more information, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-CUBS.
You know what I told him, Len?
Throw strikes.
Stop walking, guys. Well, we told you at the top of the show, Jonathan Sanchez just doesn't get hit very hard. I mean, he did give up the home run to Ryan Theriot and a couple of doubles in this ball game, but when he's in the strike zone, it's tough to make solid contact against him. But because of his erratic control, he will put himself in some of these tough situations.
Foul pop by Soto, out of play. Bases loaded, walk in the 1st, to ground out to 3rd in the 3rd. Very interesting comment from Gio in an MLB.com piece in spring training, talking Kerry Muscat, talking about understanding what pitchers are doing to him at the plate in terms of adjustments. He said it's dangerous sometimes to think like a catcher. Quote, that gets you in trouble. You have to go to the plate thinking like a hitter, not a catcher. What happens is you call stuff you can't hit. You have to think like a hitter when you're hitting and a catcher when you're catching.
Or at least try to think like the opposing catcher. I mean, we've talked about it in the past. There are certain catchers that
it's going to hold up. Oh, he lost it in the lights. Wynn couldn't handle it. And Lee's going to stop at 3rd. They're loaded up. Like Randy Wynn lost that liner in the lights. And it'll be a hit for Soto. They're loaded with no outs.
That line drive, it just stayed right there in the lights. The ball never really got very high in the air. Win right there, completely lost it, jumped out of the way, just tried to make a backhand stop of that ball. And now we're going to have a pitching change. Looks like a double switch as Bruce Bochy heads to home plate umpire Jerry Lane.
Eugenio Velez will come in along with Justin Miller. Bases full of Cubs. They lead 3-0. No outs in the 5th. right-hander Justin Miller will take over on the mound. He's in a bit of a bind. Bases loaded, no outs. Infield will come in. Facing Reed Johnson, 2 walks and a single, a ball that was lost in the lights by Randy Winn. Here we go, outside.
Now, some fans may remember earlier this season, Joe Martinez, a pitcher for the Giants, was hit by a line drive off the bat of Mike Cameron in the head, went on the disabled list, and Miller was a young man that came up from AAA Fresno to take his place on the roster.
Two and nothing, the count. Reed looking for his pitch in this spot. Lee's going to tag. And it'll end up being a sac fly. The first RBI of the year for Reed Johnson comes on a sacrifice fly. It's 4-0. Justin Miller has a bunch of tattoos which you can't see because he has the long sleeves on. 5 years ago, Major League Baseball told him he had to wear a long sleeve shirt under his jersey to cover up those tattoos. They were deemed distracting to hitters. It'll be caught by Ishikawa, infield fly rule.
Well, what you don't know is he had 3 baseballs tattooed on the inside of his right forearm. So when he was delivering the pitch,
not sure which one was coming. Yeah. Not a bad idea.
Something to think about.
This is the kind of inning that Cubs really could have busted open. They had the pitcher at the plate with 2 outs, 1 in, but they were loaded with no outs. Ryan still searching for that first hit of the year. There's no guarantee that a single is going to score. Ramirez is coming back from the calf injury. Randy Winn in particular in right playing pretty shallow.
Pretty good arms across the Giants outfield. Randy Winn, as you mentioned, already playing shallow in right field. He charges the ball hard. He's usually pretty accurate with his throws. Aaron Rowan, a strong arm in center field. And Freddie Lewis got to the big leagues by being Barry Bonds' valet defensive replacement late in ball games.
A 1-2 pitch. And with a breaking ball and missed off the plate. A lot of incentive for Miller to get Dempster with Soriano on deck. And he does. Freezes him with a fastball for strike 3. They get 1 more. It's now 4-zip Cubs. out and left. One of my favorite first names in all of sports, Eugenio Velez, and he hits a ground ball to Ryan Theriot. He throws him out.
Time now to look at tonight's AM/PM player of the game. Ryan Dempster with a nice bounce back start here tonight. Had much better command in this game, working ahead in the count to most of the Giants hitters. His team spotted him some early runs. Our AM/PM player of the game, too much good stuff, Ryan Dempster.
Strike one on Lewis, the leadoff man. Dempster's only win to this point was in Milwaukee on the 12th of April. It was the Sunday night game. He's gone exactly 6 innings in every start. So far, this has been his best one. After Lewis, it's Edgar Renteria and then Pablo Sandoval if anybody gets on.
Well, and I think we all got a little spoiled by Ryan Dempster last season until the playoffs. He was about as consistent as any starting pitcher in the National League last year. We use that phrase, give his team a chance to win a game, and Demps did that darn near every time he towed the rubber.
14 of his 17 regular season wins were here at Wrigley Field. Most home wins by a Cubs pitcher in a season since Fergie Jenkins won a club record 15 in 1967. Ball 4. One of the 2 number 31 flags flying off the foul poles at Wrigley Field. That's the Jenkins flag in left. The Maddox flag is flying in right. One and nothing on Renteria. Keeping the Fergie Jenkins stories going. Ryan Dempster in 2000, first Canadian-born pitcher to go to the All-Star game since Fergie did it with the Cubs in 1972.
And Fergie and Greg Maddux both very humble, very appreciative of having the number retired. I mean, we were talking about it between innings with Jim Hendry, and Greg Maddux rarely showed any emotion on the baseball field, but he got a little choked up yesterday. That was good to see.
Also recall talking to Greg just before he got traded in 06. Everybody knew it was going to be his last outing as a Cub, last few days as a Cub, and he got a little choked up then too. And Greg actually pitched here in the playoffs in the division series for the Dodgers, wrapping up one of their wins. The Braves are going to retire his number this season as well. As they should.
Yep.
Base hit to right. And for the first time all night, the Giants have multiple runners on base. This may be their big shot because they have the number 3 hitter coming up, Sandoval. This goes back to your analysis earlier of a spot like this. Hopefully Ryan can make quality pitches here.
Pitch up and out over the plate to Edgar Renteria. He's been known to go to the opposite field throughout his career. If you pitch him out there over the plate, found that hole in the right side for a clean single into right field. I mean, Sandoval appears to be a guy, whether there's anybody on base or not, he wants to swing the bat. He'll take a walk if you throw him 4 horrible pitches. But you can nibble around the edges here, stay down below the knees, up above the shoulders.
And they're going to try to get their first run, and they will as Lewis scores. Throw goes toward third. It's 4-1. So he didn't wait around to hack. Got a pitch to handle. And he puts the Giants on the board, and Larry Rothschild's going to head out. Oh, that was way up. See, Soto wanted it down.
Yep. Hanging slider right there. They wanted to try to bounce a slider from our southwest sky cam right back over the mound into center field. Runners were off on contact, and not only do they score their first run, they go first to third on that base hit into center field. Well, a prime double play candidate at the plate right now. If Dempster can get his pitches back down around the knees and below. We saw Benjamin Molina labor down that first baseline on a ground ball to Terrio in the fourth that he actually dropped, turned around, picked up, and still threw Molina out of first base.
The pitch. Bouncer to third. Ramirez had to back up. They get one. It's dropped by Miles. They're going to give him the out as he dropped it on the exchange. Sandoval came sliding in pretty hard. But it looked like they had a golden opportunity to get that out at first. But Miles never did make the relay throw. It's now 4-2, and Molina will get an RBI.
I'm sure if Miles handles this ball cleanly, once again from our southwest sky cam, runner right on top of him at second base. Hard slide in there. But Benjamin Molina was just a little over halfway down the first baseline when Aaron Miles got that feed from Aramis Ramirez.
So they have now cut the lead in half. And a strike on Rowan. He is grounded out twice, once into a double play. And now you go back to the bottom of the fifth, and Justin Miller is able to limit the damage after Sanchez loaded the bases with no outs. Giants are still very much in this game. Two strikes on Rowan. There's Randy Wynn on deck. Quiet tonight, but a career .366 batter against the Cubs. Swing and a miss. Got him on the high cheese. They get two, and they're back in it. It's 4-2 Cubs. The 2009 Honda Accord. Giants have struggled with runners in scoring position, even though they did get a couple runs to make it a 4-2 game. Ryan Theriot already matching his single-season career high with his 3rd home run. Top of the order, Soriano trying to get on base for the home run hitting Theriot as he faces Justin Miller.
Did you think he'd be saying that when we left spring training?
No. Soriano with 7 home runs. Fontenot's in 2nd on the team. He has 5. Kosuke Fukudome with 4. Then you have Ryan Theriot, Derek Lee, Aramis Ramirez with 3.
It's been a one-sided matchup in the past between Miller and Soriano. Soriano only 1 for 11 lifetime. The one hit was a home run. It's an .091 batting average with 3 strikeouts.
Last 2 pitches were sliders off the plate.
You know, usually when you see those kind of numbers for Soriano against an opposing pitcher, it's because he's got that hard slider.
That time he got him on the fastball. Those numbers we were talking about early with the 1st inning versus the rest of the game, they've played out as advertised. Soriano 1 for 1 in the 1st, 0 for 3 since. But he has hit some big home runs in the late innings as a Chicago Cub.
You know, when you think about the power surge by Ryan Theriot, it does make a lot of sense when you think about what opposing teams must say about Ryan Theriot in their advance meeting. You know, patient hitter, try to get ahead in the count. And that's usually going to be with a fastball in the strike zone. And in the past, Ryan Theriot would probably take that pitch for a called strike. But since his conversation with Lou Piniella, he's been much more aggressive early in the count and still has a good enough eye that he doesn't chase bad pitches. It's all about situational hitting and gaining experience, learning the opposing pitchers and opposing teams and what they're likely to do against you, and then try to take advantage of those situations.
Miller off the mound, the flip in plenty of time. 2 outs. And it brings up Milton Bradley. It's been the biggest change in terms of Milton Bradley's spring training and now, other than he hasn't played every day because the nagging injury. He talked about not getting a lot of good strikes to hit. He walked a lot early on in the season. He pops this one up. No play for Molina. Is there anything you see in particular?
It looks to me like teams are really trying to pound Milton Bradley inside. I mean, they throw him strikes on the inside corner and then they go further inside. We talked all the way back in Mesa about how he stands close to the plate from both sides. And because he has such a good eye, I think he gets himself into some trouble taking early strikes and then chasing pitches off the plate inside.
Little bouncer to Velez, and Miller works a 1-2-3 6th. We're off to the 7th. Win Ishikawa and a pinch hitter coming up for the Giants. to the 7th, 4-2 Cubs. Outside. 1-1 on Randy Winn. $39,112 in the ballpark tonight. Getting ready for a 7th inning stretch. Members of the Chicago Red Stars, professional women's soccer team, will handle it. Former Cub Bob Howery will likely work the bottom of the inning. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Time now for a look at our high-def shot of the game, sponsored by Comcast. Former Cub and current Giants broadcaster Mike Krukow, former battery mate of yours, in the booth next door, working with Dave Fleming and Dwayne Kuiper. That's to flip that baseball throughout the 9 innings.
He can never sit still. He couldn't sit still on the days he wasn't starting. He still can't sit still.
Cubs baseball in high definition, sponsored by Comcast. Kruk and Kuip.
Yep, they do a great job.
Hi, Mike.
Still one of my favorite stories of all time involving Mike Krukow. His first day in the big leagues here with the Cubs. He was running along the warning track with the rest of the pitchers well before game time, and had just been called up, and a fan kept leaning over the left field bleachers saying, "Hey, number 39, what's your name?" Krukow tried to play it cool. He was in the big leagues after all. So he just kept running past, and every time he went by, the guy would say the same thing. "Hey, 39, what's your name?" And finally, Krukow had heard enough, so he said, "Hey, meat, go buy a program." And the fan, without missing a beat, said, "I did, and you ain't in it." Humbling experience, first day here in Chicago.
The 3-1 to Ishikawa. Hit foul. Nate Scherholtz is on deck for the pitcher Miller. Dempster's 3-2 hit on the ground. Aaron Miles scooting a little bit to his right. 2 outs. Action for the first time in the Cubs pen. Heilman the righty, Kotz the lefty. Longest outing of the season for Dempster, working into the 7th. Strike 1.
Scherholtz hitting .269 on the season, but he's been really good in pinch hit situations for Bruce Bochy. 4 for 8 on the season.
.320 last year at AAA. 18 home runs in just 93 games. Got a bronze medal participating in the 2008 Olympics. Team USA, Beijing. And a base hit to right. And Velez will get his second at bat. And the Olympic flag out there across Sheffield.
And maybe that's why Scherholtz has done a nice job as a pinch hitter. After going to 2 strikes, he really cut down on his swing, just made contact. top spin grounder through that right side of the infield.
Called strike on Velez. 4-2 Cubs. We're in the 7th. Velez is an infielder by trade, but last couple of years he's learned to play the outfield. Plays all over the diamond. Fans want a strikeout. This might be it for Dempster. And the pitch, he struck him out. Time to sing the stretch.
For the ball game are Chicago's women's pro soccer team, the Chicago Red Stars.
All right.
From the Chicago Red Stars. Joining us here in the booth. Nice job with the 7th inning stretch, Lindsay.
Thank you. That was really exciting.
Guys got a lot of pictures taken in between. It was nice.
We sure did.
Not enough people bring cameras up here, but you want to remember this.
Definitely. It's definitely something I'll never forget.
And Lindsay, is the rest of your team down here in the bleachers or just your fan club?
We have some teammates down there. Actually, they have perfect seats, so we were able to sing to them.
Very good.
The 0-1 pitch to Lee is a strike at the knees. You're going to see a lot of fastballs from Bob Howery. We certainly know what he likes to do. So you guys are the only undefeated team in the league, right? I mean, it's early.
It is. We played 4 games. Our next game is May 10th at 5 o'clock against New Jersey. So please come out. It's Mother's Day. We'd love to see as many people out as possible.
That's at Toyota Park in Bridgeview.
A good place to take your mom on Mother's Day. I understand the mom's going to be well taken care of that day.
They will be. We're going to be giving out flowers, massages, and definitely making them feel special.
We mentioned the Olympics. You are a gold medalist. That's pretty exciting.
It is a great experience.
And how many members of that team are with the Red Stars?
We have 2 members from the Beijing Olympics on the Red Stars. We also have a lot of international superstars from Sweden, England, Brazil.
Ground Ground ball to third, and Sandoval will throw over, and they get the out. You went to North Carolina, right, where Mia Hamm went?
I did. I'm a Tar Heel.
We saw Mia Hamm a lot when her husband Nomar was a member of the Cubs. It's great to see her at the ballpark.
She's an incredible person.
It's Aramis Ramirez with one out. He's 0 for 2 in his return to the lineup. He walked his last time up. The pitch by Howery is fouled back to the screen. So again, 3 home games coming up this month at Toyota Park. The Chicago Red Stars, professional women's soccer. And Lindsay, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate you stopping by today.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Ramirez hits it hard, but it's Renteria to gobble it up. 2 outs. Wouldn't mind adding on a little bit here. And the Giants last in the majors in runs, but it's only with a 2-run lead, even though it seems like they've outplayed the visitors. To nothing seemed pretty comfortable until the Giants got a couple in the 6th. Marmol up in the pen, Dempster with the jacket on, having made 102 pitches through 7. Oh, cool night. What do you think?
I think the fact that Marmol continues to throw down that left field bullpen in earnest. He's not just playing catch, he's cranking it up. I would have to assume that Ryan Dempster's night is over. You know, sometimes you'll get that reliever up and tell him, you know, stay loose. We're going to send the starter back out there, but if he gets in any trouble at all, you're in the ball game. And usually you'll see the pitcher just play catch with the bullpen catcher. Wait till the inning starts, but Marmol's been throwing consistently down there.
Ishikawa makes the catch. Bob Howery, a triumphant return to Wrigley Field with a 1-2-3-7 4-2 Cubs. It's tonight's Bud Light Fan Cam with just the right taste that never fills you up. The difference is drinkability. Carlos Marmol in, top of the order for San Francisco, and a big cut by Lewis. One strike. Marmol gave up a leadoff homer to John Baker in the 8th yesterday. Walked the next hitter, Hanley Ramirez, and then got the next 3. So he got a hold in front of Kevin Gregg in the final game of that Marlins series.
This is one of those situations we talked about, Len, when the controversy arose in spring training about Marmol or Gregg, who should close. And we talked at the time about, it just really depends on how the opposition's lineup rolls around.
Past Ramirez. Terrio's throw is going to be late. It's an infield hit for Lewis.
Here you have the Giants with the top of the order up in the 8th inning. This is where you'd really like to slam the door, don't allow the Giants to get anything going, and then turn the ball over to Kevin Gregg to finish it out. Hopefully, Terrio throwing on the run. Too much speed from Freddie Lewis as he's able to leg out that infield hit.
Save, very tight at first. He was barely off the bag.
Yeah, just standing with his hands on his knees over there at first, not really even working on his lead, and nearly got picked off.
The slider catches the outside part of the plate. Another one caught the heart of the plate. Renteria spent his first 3 years with Florida, winning the World Series in '97. Then with St. Louis from '99 to '04. He's bounced around a lot since. Boston in '05, Atlanta in '06 and '07, Detroit last year, now with San Francisco. Oh man, that's not fair. 3 sliders, and Renteria never did offer.
Not only did he not offer, he shied away from the last 2. That front door slider starts on the inside corner, breaks right over the heart of the plate. Look at the reaction of Renteria. He thought that ball was going to be way inside. Hang with him. Boy, that was a great shot there, Lynn, of Carlos Marmol peeking out of the corner of his eye as he was looking in toward Giovanni Soto, but checking on Fred Lewis over there at first. We see runners do that at first base from time to time as they take their lead and will peek in at the catcher.
You talked about a guy like Sanchez and how hitters don't like to face guys with great stuff who could be a little bit wild. I think the reverse is true in this spot here. Sandoval, he's going to swing it a lot, but if he gets a hold of one, watch it. Even with the wind blowing in from right.
Here's what I was talking about a moment ago. Carlos Marmol was looking in at Giovanni Soto, but peeking out of the corner of his eye at Freddie Lewis over there, trying to catch him maybe between steps as he took his lead off at first base.
Benji Molina on deck. 2-1 pitch. It's a strike on a slide piece. The 2 RBIs for San Francisco. Sandoval and Molina in back-to-back ABs in the 6th. Ryan Dempster was really good tonight. 7 innings, only 2 runs. 3-2. Do you throw him a strike here? I mean, a pitch that's in the strike zone, I should say.
Well, you'd like to see a real good slider, maybe a backdoor slider. Something that starts near the bottom of the knees and breaks out of the zone.
A fly ball sending Johnson over toward the gap. Lewis was running with the pitch, but he located the ball quickly and is able to get back to first, no problem. 2 outs.
And that time Carlos did throw the slider to the back door.
Well, hockey has the Sutter brothers, and now baseball with the Molinas. Benji, Yadier, and then former Cub Jose, who's with the New York Yankees. Benji and Yadier right up at the top among National League catchers. A lot of categories. Swing and a miss.
Looked like Benji was getting a little more meal money than Yadier. That wasn't a real flattering angle.
The 0-1. Nothing in 2. Now Yadier has made himself a really good hitter. And just a couple of years ago, you couldn't have said that. Fans getting up. 0-2. Tying run at the plate in the 8th. Swing and a miss. So they get the leadoff infield hit, but then Marmol gets Renteria, Sandoval, and Molina. It's still 4-2 Cubs. It and of course enjoy on WGNTV.com. Go there, click on the sports header, look for the link. Make sure you check it out. Len and Bob's podcast. She's chanting.
How can you not enjoy it? We defy you to not enjoy it.
1 ball, no strikes on Reed Johnson.
You know, Len, we were talking earlier in the ballgame about Aaron Rowan's batting stance and how he has found something that's comfortable for him. He's confident that when he uses that approach at the plate that he's going to be successful more often than not. I don't know if there's a more constant pitcher in Major League Baseball than Bob Howard. You talked about his pre-pitch routine. We certainly became very well aware of it when he was a member of the Cubs, and nothing has changed just because the uniform has.
Signed as a free agent over the winter. The 5th round pick of the Giants in '94. If you'd like to send us an email, WGN Cubs TV at AOL.com. We got one from Phil Behrman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Who gets credit for the run scored yesterday, Zambrano or Harden? Rich Harden pinch ran for Z when he got taken out with the hamstring injury, and Rich will get credit for the run. 3 balls and a strike. It's rare, but it's possible a guy could hit a ball over the wall, strain a hammy from between first and second, and then a pinch runner comes in and completes the trip around the bases. It has happened before, but what has to happen is where the guy goes down, the pinch runner has to come in from that spot and then continue to run around the bases. It's very bizarre looking, but it does happen.
And I don't believe I've ever seen it happen.
Gabe Kapler either ran for somebody or had somebody run for him with the Red Sox in Toronto a few years ago. Golfed high in the air, fairly deep, but it's going to be caught by Wynn. Wind helping out Randy Wynn on this cool night. Yeah, actually, Kapler hit the home run, got hurt rounding second. No, I'm sorry, he did not hit the home run. He was going to score on a Tony Graffinino home run. So he was a runner. He tripped on the artificial turf, ruptured his Achilles. Graffinino could not pass Kapler, so he had to stop and stand there while the Red Sox called on Alejandro Machado to run for Kapler.
Bizarre.
So if a guy gets hurt in front of you when you hit a home run, you can't pass him.
Talk about a slow home run trot. Got to wait for the pinch runner to come out there ahead of you and complete the trip around the bases.
Well, a ruptured Achilles tendon. I mean, I'm sure it took him 5-10 minutes to get him off the field. And I would guess if you had been the home run hitter, you probably would be credited with a home run, but not a run. The pinch runner would get the run.
It seems like one of those rules where common sense should take over and say, hey, the guy would have scored. The ball was up in the seats. Let's just put him on a stretcher, get him off the field, keep the game moving here.
It was a college softball player who tore an ACL and had to carry her around the bases. The other team carried
the
her.
opposing team carried her around the bases. What a great display of sportsmanship that was.
In the dirt. Probably a splitter, 2-2. Kevin Gregg is up, ready for the ninth. After Marmol worked a scoreless 8th. Sharply struck, but right at the shortstop, Renteria.
Number 6, Micah Hoffpower.
It's Hoffpower. You know, I kind of agree with you, Bob, as he bats for Marmol. I kind of agree with you on the common sense part of it, but there is something to be said for doing everything by the rules. I mean, you remember the Merkle play, right? 1908, right? Like the game was over. Did he touch the base or not? Fans on the field. I mean, You talked about earlier, and it was between innings, not on the air, that Benji Molina could have just stepped on the plate with the bases loaded and a strike 3. You know, why do you have to throw to first base and get the out after a strikeout? Well, there's little things you have to do in this game.
Now the one you're referring to, bases loaded, 2 outs in the inning, strike 3 on the batter, the runners are going. You can just step on home plate, but because it becomes a force play. But he went ahead and threw to first base for the out.
You should have to touch second if you're a shortstop or a second baseman on a double play, but that's not always called. The neighborhood play. A lot of times if the ball beats you to a base on a tag play, runner gets called out even if he gets his foot in.
Many of the collision plays you see at home plate, there's never really a tag made, but there is definitely contact between the runner and the catcher, and as long as the catcher has possession of the ball.
Lewis streaking over, and it lands just foul.
It looked like some of the fans that were leaning over the sidewall down there pulled their hands back at the last moment, thinking maybe that was going to be a fair ball and extra bases. Couldn't have been fouled by much because there's not much room down there in that corner.
Two and two on the pinch hitter Hoffpower. Just got a piece of the high heater. Alfonso would like another shot as the Cubs try to add on here in the 8th. Powery has retired all 5 so far.
Now Soriano would like an at bat against Bob Howery. They've seen each other 8 times. Soriano 3 for 8 with 2 bombs against Bob Howery.
The 3-2 pitch, and he will face Soriano.
That's a nice at bat by Micah Hoffpower, a guy that's had sporadic playing time, coming off the bench cold against a veteran pitcher like Bob Howery. Got some good swings early in the sequence, and then took the base on balls.
Three home runs in the late innings. In the early going for Soriano. Short lead by Hoffpower. The pitch off the outside corner. I'd say that a lot in this at bat.
Yep. And that's been Howery's MO against all right-handed hitters. Fastballs toward the outside corner, an occasional slider starting in the same location, breaking off the plate away. He did elevate a couple fastballs to Micah Hoffpower. Good rip at a slider right there.
Cirrus Matos up in the San Francisco bullpen. Howery always deliberate, particularly with men on base. and he's going to throw over to first. Speaking of technicalities, there was a 4th out rule that came into play earlier this season. Makes my head hurt. You had runner at second, runner at third, 1 out, and a line out. The guy from third ran home without tagging. The guy at second was tagged out. The run counted because the other team didn't appeal to third, which would have taken precedent because it was a scoring play.
Does make my head hurt.
So sometimes you do have to think of these little technicalities. We know this. The Cubs lead 4-2 as we go to the 9th. Six for the San Francisco Giants. This series will wrap up tomorrow afternoon. Cubs will hit the road then. Houston and Milwaukee. And Kevin Gregg trying to preserve this win for Ryan Dempster. Strike 1 on Aaron Rowan. The kick and the pitch. Low and away. Understand Rick Ankiel hit his head against the wall in St. Louis and had to leave that game as the Cardinals trail 6-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Swing and a miss, 1-2 to Rowan. So Cubs a chance here to gain a little ground on the Cardinals. Something they've been able to do the last couple of days.
The guy at the plate knows all about running into the wall head first.
Got him. Called strike 3. Yeah, Aaron Rowan went face first as a Philly into the center field wall.
Good slider by Kevin Gregg. That's a pitch that's been very inconsistent for him in the early going this season. He's bounced as many as he's thrown up there in the strike zone, but good pitch right there to Aaron Rowan.
So he stays cold. He's 0 for his last 15, and it brings up Randy Wynn, who's 0 for 3 in the ball game. Kevin Gregg has had his number. 1-1. We're nitpicking a little bit, but I think if you asked Kevin, he'd tell you the same thing, that he'd like to be just a little bit more efficient. And when he has gotten the job done, it's taken him a lot of pitches. Scoreless ninth yesterday, but it took 23 pitches to get it done. A lot of deep counts. Bounced up there, 2-2.
Yeah, even though you do get the job done, sometimes it prohibits you from pitching on back-to-back days or 3 out of 4. Ideally, you come in and get those 3 outs as quickly as possible. Your manager can run you right back out there again the next day. And the next day. And the next day.
Two on the way. We'll do it again. Can you believe Milwaukee did it again to the Pirates? They had a 4-3 lead of the night. J.J. Hardy tied it on a sac fly, and then Ricky Weeks hit a 3-run homer. 7-4 Brewers. They've beaten them 16 straight times.
Wow.
Ouch.
Pirates must be allergic to cheese.
Trevor Hoffman came on and got his 4th save. Three and 2. The payoff pitch. Another foul. Very encouraging outing from Carlos Marmol tonight. Gave up an infield single, but then threw a lot of strikes. 2 strikeouts in the 8th. Ryan Dempster with his best outing of the season. 7 innings, 2 runs. Greg walks in with 1 out to bring the tying run up to the plate.
Well, you know, Len, not to belabor the point with Carlos Marmol, I've talked about it repeatedly in the early going, but if you think about the number of innings he's pitched in the regular season and the very few outings he had in spring training, he's probably just now getting to the place where most of the relief pitchers were when they broke camp.
He's gotten a lot of work lately. He's given him a lot of chances to get locked in. One strike to Travis Ishikawa. Still searching for his first home run. And handcuffed Soto. Marquín Valdez up in the bullpen just in case. He's getting a little antsy. 2-1.
Lou's getting a little antsy. I know it's little consolation when you fall behind a hitter 3-1, but he's been missing down low. He's trying to get a ground ball right now with 1 out in the inning. Hopefully have his defense turn a double play and end this thing. But just missing low.
Well, he's 1 pitch away from ending it, if he can get that ground ball. It's Rich Aurelia on deck. Wynn not running, and a foul. Still 3-2. Big blow tonight. Another Ryan Theriot home run. 2-run shot in the second to make it 3-0. Called strike 3. 2 down.
Lou indicating to Derek Lee he wants him to play right behind Randy Wynn over there at first base. As Kevin Gregg sticks with that fastball, you see Soto sets up outside. The pitch is actually back to the inside corner, right at the knees, called strike 3. Derek will play right off the right hip of Randy Wynn as he takes his lead down there at first base and then backpedal into a defensive position.
Rich Aurelia is certainly not the batter he once was. 37 home runs. First time around with the Giants in 2001, but he'll give you a good at bat. Wynn's going to head for second and get there without a throw. And he will not be credited with a stolen base. His run doesn't mean anything. Swing and the miss. 1-1. Greg looking for a save in back-to-back games. He got one yesterday. The pitch. He's a strike away. Here it is. Fly ball sending Johnson out. Makes the catch. Cubs win. Reed Johnson with an excellent running grab out in left center. And the Cubs win 4-2. It was Kosuke Fukudome yesterday leaving his feet to preserve the Cubs win 4 in a row now for the first time.